4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Michael Müller does the honours with the starting gun, and we are up and running here in Berlin in increasingly bright sunshine, high humidity. And what sort of shape is Kenenisa Bekele in? Looking and sounding good, and we'll give you one or two little tidbits of information as the race unfolds. But Tim, I think it's fair to say that we're looking at Bekele in particular. He really does come across this year as a man who feels as though he knows what it takes to win, to break the world record.
Well, he does know what it takes. I mean, when you miss it by 2 seconds, you've got a pretty good idea what it takes. So these pacemakers have a critical job to do. There are 3 in the leading group who are planning to go out at 61 minutes exactly. Alexander Mutizo, Cyprien Kortut and Steven Kisa are the men tasked with taking Bekele through to halfway in 61 minutes. And if he can do that, that itself would be a world best in a marathon for halfway, because he went out when he ran his time here 2 years ago, 2:01:41 and 61:05. Kipchoge during his world record went out in 61:06. So that's very much the sort of territory you need to be in. And 61 is quick, but he plans to come back quicker, Chris. Very much, again, they feel physiologically it's best to get to halfway a little bit conservatively and then accelerate in the latter stages.
Yeah, there was some confusion actually at the press conference when one journalist asked her, presumably because it's going to be warm on Sunday, you're going to be looking at a positive split. And Bekele was rather confused, I think, by the question. And I think we got it confirmed by his manager, Jos Hermans, yesterday, that the plan is, as you say, to go out in 61 and then ramp it up in the second half of the race, so to do a negative split, as both he and Kipchoge did in the last 2 or 3 years, 18 and 19.
Well, we saw those figures come up just then, Chris. The organisers were hoping there would be about 25,000 register and run, and it said 24,796. That must be the exact figure from the expo, which is over at one of the old airports over the last couple of days. 117 nations represented here, and that's not bad, is considering what a terrible, trying 18 months the world has had, the world of sport has had, and the world of distance running has had. 117 nations have been able to gather here, and the city is heaving with runners. Everywhere you go, there are runners proudly walking around in their club tops or their national vests or whatever.
Yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful feel this weekend with that extra spice of the German elections. They've just hit the Siegersäule, which is just such a majestic sight, designed by Heinrich Strack in 1864, for those of you who like a little bit of history. Well worth a visit to the top if you've got if you come to Berlin for the weekend. It's quite a view from the very top, and that's a great sight, isn't it? And Tim, rightly, as you say, it's been a while since we've enjoyed mass participation running in a full marathon.
Well, it has, and I think this is the biggest marathon since the comeback, so to speak, since things have opened up a little bit. Of course, a couple of weeks ago there was the Great North Run, 3 weeks ago the Great North Run in the northeast of England, a big half marathon, the world's biggest half marathon, normally with some 40 or 50,000 running. Well, I think 3 weeks ago they had around 30,000 run. But in terms of marathon racing, this will be the biggest field. Good to know that there's almost, very nearly 25,000 out there on the road.
And of course, this marks the start of a very, very busy next 6 weeks. We've got Berlin today, London literally next Sunday in a week's time, then Chicago a week after, then Boston the following day, New York on November the 7th. And you throw in there Amsterdam and Rotterdam as well. And we mentioned Kenenisa Bekele doing a Berlin-New York double. That's quite rare.
It's very rare for an athlete of his calibre, especially if he's chasing a world record here today. But Jos Hermans answered us very fully yesterday.